Hi, I'm Mark Prey, the founder of Mark One Mortgage and Real Estate Wealth Academy. Now, you can see on my little slide here a little bit about my background. I've been in the real estate industry since 1977. I got out of high school, got my real estate license, started selling houses. After a year, that's where I got exposed to the mortgage industry. And after a year, I moved over to the mortgage business, became a loan officer. Did well. Then in December of 1980, I was 22 years old. That year, we had prime go to 22%, radically changed market, and I adapted in that market, started my own company called Mark One Mortgage. That was over 40 years ago, so I've had my company over that long term. Now, we've seen massive changes in the real estate and mortgage and frankly just the world, but none greater than what we're experiencing now with technology. The things I've learned over my long career in the real estate and the mortgage industry as an investor, a private investor, I created a private capital equity fund. I've learned some really powerful and profound things about real estate, about mortgage, and most importantly, about wealth growth that until now, and I'm not saying I'm the only one that knows this stuff, but I'm telling you there's a very small percentage of typically big time real estate investors that know the things I'm about to share with you. I've taken the time over the last, it's been a 6-year journey when I started the Mark One Real Estate Wealth Academy, and I wrote my book. You can see on here, Why the Rich Stay Rich and the Poor Stay Poor. And we have built a platform unlike anything the real estate or mortgage industry has ever seen before. And I know that's a big statement, but it is a fact, and it is growing at an incredible rate. And I'm going to show you in this presentation why it's growing at an incredible rate. But in a nutshell, here's what it always comes down to in business: is are you better? Are you bringing a greater value to consumers? Are you helping them at a deeper level? What we are doing with our educational program is helping the American people solve some of their greatest financial struggles. And it creates an epic opportunity for an industry that is really in crisis. Residential real estate is in crisis like a lot of industries are because of technology, with Zillow getting in the industry and so on. So anyway, let's move forward. I want to show you what I'm talking about with all of this. How you can blow away every competitor, including Zillow. Now, this presentation is for real estate agents. The real estate industry, and the real estate agent in particular, is under greater threat than ever before. But this is not something new. In the same way that Amazon has destroyed retailers, the way that Uber has destroyed, the taxi industry, this is what Zillow is doing and other technology companies, is they're basically commoditizing residential real estate. And this is it's reducing commissions, and I think I know we're going to see massive numbers of residential agents that are just going to simply get squeezed out because there just isn't enough money in it for them as commissions go down. And here's the amazing part is real estate brokers and agents alike do not believe that there is a solution to beating Zillow and to beating their competitors. And it's this downward spiral of trying to work for less and less. There is a way to win this battle, and I'm going to show you that way as we go through this presentation. Real estate agents have never been under greater attack than they are now. If you don't believe that, then you're just asleep at the wheel, because that is a fact. Selling real estate has become more difficult because the industry changed, and it's because the world has changed with technology. 65% of consumers start with Zillow. Now think about that. 100% of consumers basically start with the internet, but 65% start with one company. Now that's amazing. Even with Amazon's dominance, they don't get 65% of consumers starting at just their website. 65% are starting at Zillow, and they're now a real estate broker. If you've ever thought and hoped that there's a better way, there absolutely is, and I'm going to show you that better way right now. Now, here's when I got in the industry, when realtors ruled the market, the world of consumers at the top, this is where consumers, they would have a desire or a need to buy or sell real estate. Well, here were their options. One is they could drive around looking for real estate signs. Two, go in the newspaper, which was really difficult. Or three, find an agent. Well, it didn't take long for consumers to get to an agent. Agents controlled the information. And what was critically important about this is it was clear to consumers of what value the agent was bringing. That clarity has gotten muddled dramatically because now they don't start with agents. Where do they start? They start with Zillow. They go to Zillow or they go online, Redfin, and so on. They're getting all kinds of information. They know almost as much as the agents know on what's on the market, the community, and so on. So when they now, and the agents are getting the leads from from these lead companies like Zillow. And so now the consumer already has a ton of information. So the agent value has been greatly diminished. And this is why commissions are coming down. And agents are really struggling to create that value. And you can see with technology companies and Zillow buying this showcase and all this, and the number of properties that a lot of these companies are buying, that the commoditization, I mean, what Zillow is trying to do in a nutshell is make buying houses like buying cars. And that's where we're headed. And the younger generation is much more comfortable making purchases online than than the older generation was in the previous world that we used to live in that no longer really exists. Here's how you can beat Zillow and every competitor. The formula in every industry is always the same: is you have to be better. You have to be better in being able to differentiate your value, your expertise. What value? Now let's make this personal for a moment. What value are you providing consumers that your competitor agents and Zillow are not? If you don't know the answer to that question like in seconds, you're in trouble. I'm going to show you how we can differentiate you, and not just differentiate you, but make you clearly superior from every other agent, and where Zillow becomes irrelevant, where they cannot compete with you. Now, here's the key to selling. I don't care what the product is or service that you're selling. There's a formula. Here's the key. You can see it on the screen. The key to selling is solving consumer problems. We're all the same. Why do we buy a product or service? Because we feel or believe we need it. So what problem do over 80% of Americans have that you and real estate can solve? I want you to think about that. Now, what problem? Because if the consumer has a problem, they want a solution. So what problem do over 80% of Americans have that they want solved, and you can solve it, and you don't even know what it is? That you in real estate can solve, and you don't even know what it is. And you're not attacking it, and you're not marketing it, you're not addressing it. You're chasing consumers the old way, the way everyone else has. Let me show you what that problem is. Selling is easy when you can solve consumers' number one problem in life, and that's money. Did you know over 80% of Americans in every age category, every generation, whether you're talking millennials all the way up to the baby boomers, have the number one stress, the number one worry they have 24/7 is money. Now, does that surprise you? I'm sure it doesn't. Over 80% of the people in this country are struggling to save money. 10% are wealthy, another 10% are, let's say, comfortable. But if you don't work for the government and have a fantastic pension, like a fireman or like a teacher or whatever, if you're in the private sector, you're in big time trouble. And most people believe there is no solution to this. But there is a solution, and I'm going to show you that solution. Now, I want you to imagine that, okay? Remember, the key to selling is problem solution. So we have to market to problems. and then bring the solution. But here I want you to understand the epic opportunity in front of you. 3 to 4% of consumers are in the market to buy or sell real estate. That's a small percentage, 3 or 4 out of 100. 100% of agents are chasing this small pie. Now, if you've been in this business any length of time, you know how competitive it is. Everybody's chasing this small pie, and here's why. Because they believe, because they've been trained this way since the beginning of time, to ask the question, to knock doors, and to prospect and use old scripts saying, are you anybody you know interested in buying or selling real estate? So what you're doing is all these agents are chasing this really small market, saying the same thing, and it's a diminishing market. Let me show you how to magnify your market opportunity by 10 times and eliminate your competition. Now, the next category, 7 to 10% of consumers own 2 or more properties. Now, here's what that means. LA County, it's only 7% own 2 or more properties. Now, what does that tell you that consumers believe about owning real estate as an investment or as an asset? 65% have a 401k or IRA that's invested in stocks. Well, what it means is they don't believe in real estate as an investment. They believe in stocks. People believe it's all about get a good job, set up a 401k or IRA, and try to save their way. 40% own a home and have a 401k or an IRA, but they don't see the home as an investment. They see the home as, okay, it's a shelter and it's a roof over my head. What if you could convert these 40% into clients and into transactions? Next, 50% are renters. 10 to 20% of renters have a 401k or IRA and can buy real estate but choose not to. Why? Because they don't believe in real estate. Because they don't know. Now, let me ask you this question. What do you think is the greatest creator of wealth and financial security and retirement income? 401k and stocks or real estate? Now, when I ask that question at our live events, the agents all raise their hand, say real estate. Well, and they're right, and it's not even close. But when I ask them, can you prove it? And it gets real quiet. No one has taken the time to train the agents in the value of and the power, the amazing power of real estate wealth growth. Here's why. Because agents have only been trained to sell the house like it's an appliance. It might as well be a washer or a dryer. He's talking about bedrooms and baths and square footage, and here's the price, and are you ready to make an offer? That's it. Let me show you in this presentation, I'm going to show you how this 40% and let's say at least 10%, so we're talking 50% of the marketplace, 50% of the people in your cell phone, 50% of the people in your neighborhood need you and real estate. And I'm going to emphasize, they have a mammoth problem. They have a mammoth financial problem. They are struggling to save money. The prospects of them being able to retire is slim and none. And there's only one solution, and it's real estate. But if you don't know how to market to this great crisis need, if you don't know how to have this conversation, if you don't know how to have this consultation, you're going to stay up here with 100% of agents and struggle. When you can be here with 50% with no competition. To me, that's a friggin' no-brainer. All right, let me illustrate the mammoth problem, because the bigger the crisis, the bigger the opportunity. Here's the wealth crisis in America today. Now, this is a report from Goldman Sachs. Dark blue is 1989, light blue is 2016. All right, so top 110, not top 1%, top 110. You can see over the last 30 years, the top 110 have grown their ownership of the wealth in this country from about 13 to about 17%. Now, the next 9/10 has grown from about 27% to about 33%. So the top 1% own about 50% of the wealth. 1% own 50% of the wealth. Now, the next 9%, slight contraction, but if you add these 3 categories, the top 10% own over 90% of the wealth in this country. Here's the middle class. Look what's happened in the middle class from 17 to about 7%. Major contraction. The middle class was going backwards. This 50 to 90 percentile, this is a gigantic market. This is, remember, it's problem solution. This is a big time problem, and there's only one solution. Let me say that again, there's only one solution. And the real estate is that solution. It's you and real estate. And there's nobody attacking this market. We have got the solution, and we've launched this, we've built this platform. I'm going to show you how we solve this problem. Here's the first part of this is you have to be able to prove to consumers, not just talk, prove beyond a shadow of a doubt, the real estate's going to blow away stocks in every other asset class. I'm going to show you how we do that quickly and easily. First category, stock and rent. So we're talking about renters. So let's say you have a renter that has $120,000 and they bought $120,000 worth of stock. And let's say in their stock, they get an 8% return. Now, before I go forward, let me back up for a second. If you buy $120,000 worth of stock, you're going to get stock certificates, basically statements. What can you use those statements for? Answer is maybe wallpaper, but you can't really use them for anything. Here's what that means. There's no utility to them. There's no utility value. So you get your stock certificates. Let's say your stock averages 8% net return after money management fees, which are usually 1.5%, even 2%. But generally speaking, about 1.5% is what most people are paying. So that means they have to have a 9.5% gross return to net 8%. If you can average 8% net for 30 years, that's pretty phenomenal. But now you're paying rent, $3,000 a month in rent. And let's say rents are going at 4% a year. Now, the state of California averages 4% rent appreciation. LA and Orange County are higher than that, more like 5.5%. We're only using 4%. In 30 years, your stock portfolio would have grown at an 8% rate to $1.2 million, so tenfold. Pretty impressive. But look what you would have paid, what renters pay in housing over 30 years, over $2 million. Renters are losing money every day because with their stocks, they can't live in their stocks, so they have to pay for housing. $800,000 loss over 30 years. Renters are losing money every day and they don't even know it. They take that same $120,000, 20% down, buy a $600,000 house. Now, probably most of your clients are paying less than 20% down or doing 3-5% down. My point is, if you're putting less down, the wealth growth difference between stock and real estate is even more. It's dramatically more, but I'm really stacking the deck in favor of stocks. But now you just $120,000, you see the difference? You have a $600,000 house. So you're starting at $600,000, not $120,000. Huge head start because of the leverage factor. Now, I'm only using 5% appreciation, and I say only because California's 50-year average is 7.3. In the past year, the Inland Empire has been about 22%. LA County is about 15%. We're only using 5%. So again, I'm stacking the deck in favor of stocks. The PITI 3279. In 30 years, that house is worth $2.6 million. The reality is going to be worth over $3 million. We would have paid about almost half what a renter would pay. But $90,000 for basic maintenance on the property. Net gain $1,322,000. Net loss stock and rent $811,000. Add these two numbers together, and you basically have a $2 million utility value, meaning the ability to use that property because you have land and a structure is worth $2 million. Now let's compare it to where, let's say you own a home and you return it to a rental. Now we're collecting rent. We're selling the utility. What's the utility value of stocks? Zero. $3,000 for the utility value. Now we've collected over $2 million in rent on this property. We've pumped up the expenses because we threw property management, vacancy factor, extra expenses, and all that stuff. And even after all that, we have a $3 million net profit on the property versus $1.2 million. It's not even close. How many residential agents do you know having this conversation with their clients? They're not. Now, real estate is the fastest path to building wealth, but not only the fastest, it's the safest. Here's why it's the safest. Real estate is the only asset that operates on two separate supply and demand components. Let me explain what that means. Here's a chart from departmentofnumbers.com. You can see the California state average on gross rent increases about 4% a year. That's for the whole state. Now, here's why real estate is the safest. As I said, it operates on two separate supply and demand components. Here are the two separate supply and demand components. The first one is the supply and demand to purchase real estate. Now, let's say in 2008, we had the financial meltdown, and you had $1 million in stocks, and your stock portfolio got crushed, and it went from $1 million to $500,000, and you're retired. What do you think happened to your retirement income? Well, you know what happened? It got cut in half, dollar for dollar. Now, in 2008, the demand to purchase stocks collapsed, but so did the demand to purchase real estate. But what happened to the demand to rent? Well, you can see in 2008, it actually went up. Now, you probably know why it went up, because all those people that lost their houses, now some lost their house because they lost their job, but a lot just simply walked away. And they walked away because they owed way more than it was worth. Now, so their property value comes down, their loan balances, let's say they owed 600 grand and now it's only worth 400, and they said, forget it, I'm not going to do it. And they just walked away. But what did they choose to do? Did they choose to be homeless, or did they choose to be renters? Well, they chose to be renters. So the demand to rent went up. So real estate operates on the supply and demand to purchase and the supply and demand to rent. California has an incredible housing shortage when it comes to rental housing. That demand, vacancy factors are like 1%, 2%. That demand is what keeps rents very solid. Now, if you look at this chart, look at the stability. This is the median, the average growth rate. But a solid 4% steadily for this period. This average goes back to World War II. It's about 80-year average. Name a stock that looks this stable for 80 years. There isn't one. This is why real estate is the safest investment you can make. Now, next is, why is real estate the fastest way to grow wealth? I showed you the utility value, but it gets better than that. Here's the other factor and why it gets better. Is the 5 economic benefits of real estate. Now, I've got a quick little poker chip presentation I'm going to show you and how that will illustrate what these 5 economic benefits are. So let me show you what that looks like. Okay, first let me put this down on my desk. Okay. All right, I'm going to show you this quick poker chip presentation. All right, now I put this together, this little poker chip presentation, because it's a fast and easy way to prove to people that real estate blows away every other asset class. Let's say the red chips represent your money. So let's say you have $1 and you put this dollar in the bank, okay, and you get 1%. Now you're not even going to get 1%, but $1, you get 1%, 1 cent. Here are the problems with that. First, you put the return of less than 1%. It doesn't make any sense. But number 2, you're actually losing money, which is because of inflation. Inflation is 2.5%, 3%. The 100-year average for inflation in this country is 3%. But here's the worst part and why I created the poker chip presentation, is you're only making money one way. This is called linear wealth growth, meaning you're making money in a straight line. Now let's say you put another $1 in the stock market and you get 8% return, like that other presentation. So here's 2, 4, 6, 8. Way better than the bank. But here's the problems when you put your money in the stock market, like in a 401k or IRA, is that you put this money in your 401k and it doesn't help you along the way. There's no monthly income. You can't touch it till you're 59.5. So in your 20s, 30s, 40s, and even 50s, you're struggling to save money. You're living on a tight budget and there's no supplemental income. And if you take anything out, you got to pay large tax hits and penalties. So that's a challenge. But here's the other big factor, is it's still linear wealth growth. You're only making money on your money. Now let's compare it to real estate. Let's say put another dollar. So same as the bank and stocks. Buy $10 property. So 10% down. Here's 9, 2, 4, 6, 8, 9. So you get 10% down. And as you know, you can buy with less than 10% down. But we're just trying to make an apples and apples comparison. So $1, first economic benefits, leverage. So you borrow the $9 from the bank. Now, let's use 5%, not 8. 8% stocks, we'll only use 5 in real estate, not the 7.3. So 5% of $1 is 5 cents. 5% of $10 is 50 cents. So let me show you what that looks like. Let me go. Here's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Now, we've only covered 2 economic benefits, and we've already blown away stocks. Leverage, appreciation, but it gets better than that. There's still 3 more economic benefits. Next is principal reduction. Every time you make a mortgage payment, a percentage of that mortgage payment is principal, and your loan balance is going down, and you're accumulating more wealth. Next is tax benefits. Now, if you own a home, you can write off the interest deduction and maybe part of the property tax deduction, depending on what tax bracket you're in. But if you turn your home into a rental, you get massive tax write-off, and you can create significant tax-free income that will help you today. Now, I want you to think about this, agent. How many agents do you know that are selling and educating consumers on the fact that they can create tax-free income today that can benefit them in their 30s, 40s, and 50s? How many consumers do you think are interested in learning how they can create tax-free income today? It's pretty much all of them. All right, and here's the last one, rental cash flow. Now, you just saw the stability of rents. Rents basically go one way, they go up. But here's what's even more awesome about this. Is let's say you buy this property, this $10 property with $1, you borrow the $9. So if I loaned you this $9 to buy this $10 property, and you rent this property, so this is someone else's money, this is the renter's money. I loan you this money, and the renter pays my loan off. So I loan you this money, and someone else pays your loan off. Doesn't that make this free money? The answer is yes. Because of the utility value. There's no other asset class that has that. You can create hundreds of thousands and even millions of dollars of free money. There's no other way to do that. Real estate is the only way that you can create this kind of money. So this is the key to creating massive amounts of wealth. So real estate is the fastest way to build wealth because of the 5 economic benefits and the utility value. Now, here's the next level on how you use this information. We've created strategies, marketing strategies that are targeted toward 4 different key demographics in the real estate industry. One is renters, one is homeowners, seniors, and then real estate investors. We have developed the marketing and the sales systems. Here's why salespeople struggle in any field. It's what I call every day's a new adventure. The truth is they're just winging it. You need a proven sales system. We have a perfected, proven sales system that is powerful, that will resonate with people. Where first step is you have to be able to capture the attention of a prospect in 1 sentence. If you don't capture their attention and get their attention immediately in 1 sentence, they're going to say, thanks, but I'm not interested. Number 2 is you have to be able to get them excited. We get them excited because we have a proven script that we will share with that provides the solution to wealth and retirement. Step 3 is we get into a client consultation or an appointment. We can do that together. We can do it online. We can do it live. But in our client appointments, we will convert 90% of prospects into clients for you. Now, some will buy immediately. Some will buy 30, 60 days, and some will buy a year from now, just depending on where their financial circumstances. And you will sell more real estate than you ever imagined possible, because you have a system to work it that resonates. Because remember, it's problem solution. We market to the problem, we give them the solution. Everybody wants the solution to their problems. Here's where it starts: is you have to be able to capture people's attention in seconds, and really in one sentence. I want to ask you, what is the one sentence that you use that stops people in their tracks? They say, okay, that's interesting. Let me share with you, you've heard this term probably, an elevator pitch, or we call it a stadium pitch. Hello, my name is Mark Prater. I'm a real estate wealth advisor. What I do is I provide my clients to the solution to save money and retirement by providing profound real estate wealth strategies. Now, what percentage of people do you think are interested in learning the solution to saving money and retirement and building serious wealth? The problem is the struggle to save money. This gets people's attention because all of them believe they got to save a ton of money, and that's simply not true. When are you available to learn how you can build wealth and retire without saving money? Now, whatever you're saying today, how does that compare to that? This message of positioning, see, we're differentiating. Stop being another face in the crowd. We're going to differentiate you. We're going to get you skilled and positioned to bring dramatically superior value. And we get their attention. Then we get into a powerful conversation. This is just the opening, and then we have a script. And we go from that script into a client consultation. Now, we have digital flyers that you can print and use, or emails and those kinds of things. We have a very comprehensive marketing program. But this is an example of one of our most powerful scripts that's tied to a flyer. So imagine this flyer is like a PowerPoint presentation. And the script basically goes like this. It talks about why buy real estate? Why should someone buy real estate? The average agent can't explain that. Can you imagine how the average consumer tries to ask consumers that question? This is a great conversation. Open house. Someone comes in, you ask them, "What's great? What is it about real estate that you find interesting?" They can't really answer the question. So we get into the explanation about the 5 economic benefits. We show them the utility value. They're blown away. And this is how we mesmerize them with value and expertise and get into an appointment. We have another program for renters about why renting is a financial disaster. You go to my presentation on why renting is a financial disaster.com. We prove how real estate blows away the stock market. This is a 5-year analysis. You can see what's happened to real estate wealth growth in the last 5 years. 60,000 in a $600,000 property versus 60,000 in stocks. Look at the wealth growth difference. It's not even close. And how many agents do you know that are sharing this powerful information? We do consumer events every month. We have marketing. One of the things I'm super excited about, we're launching a new live stream show about educating consumers on how to analyze residential real estate, on whether real estate is, one property is a good investment versus another. It's all about ongoing education, but you can see some of the marketing content. We've got a 24/7 lead generation system where we've got massive amounts of marketing content that will come your way. You get a personalized lead page, so you can use this to market. And what this does is it differentiates you from the competition. It positions you as an expert, and it gives you major credibility, and credibility creates trust. If people do not trust you, they're not going to do business with you. This is the number one problem I think agents have, is that why they struggle. Nobody trusts them, and they don't understand why people don't trust them. And the reason they don't trust them is because you don't have any credibility. And the reason you don't have any credibility is you don't have anything more than a business card. Here's what our lead pages look like. And Jason Risley, one of the top agents in Orange County, has been a part of our program from pretty much the inception. And you can see we shoot a video, we get you set up with a custom lead page. As I said, we have our different consumer events. You can participate. These are live and, they're live in person and live online presentations. You market these events, we will create clients for you at an incredible level. because our education is factual, it's powerful. You can go to our website, our Mark1wealthacademy.com website, learn a little bit more about us there. This is an event we just had a couple weeks ago. Had over 50 people. This is our training center and event center. You can see our green screen here where we shoot our videos. And that, by the way, that was a Spanish, all Spanish event. So how do you think you'll capture more clients? By introduce you, say, hi, I'm a realtor, I sell houses. Do you know anybody that's interested in buying or selling real estate? Or, hello, I'm a real estate wealth advisor. I provide my clients a solution to saving money and retirement by providing profound real estate wealth strategies. Join us for our weekly training. We do training every Tuesday and every Thursday. We have a marketing launch. If you're interested in learning more, go to mark1rewa.com and register, and we will email you our full marketing launch so you can take a look at all the marketing support that we have. I'm Mark Prather, founder of Mark One Real Estate Wealth Academy and Mark One Mortgage. We have a path to help people at a deep and profound financial level, and you can make a fortune by bringing this value and this expertise.